creating delivery vehicles for nuclear weapons to destroy each other, but there was some sighting in the lead.
Delete.
The USSR was initially in the lead, having put an object in orbit and then being the first to put a man into space. In the end, though, it was the Americans who got there first, with Neil Armstrong being the first man to walk on the moon. Incidentally, the Soviet lunar program was conducting an unmanned mission at the time the astronauts were on the moon, which failed and crashed into the surface. So after this, how did the Soviets react? Did they try to suppress it or claim that it didn't happen? Nope. First of all, footage of the landings was shown on Soviet television, but frankly not many Soviet citizens owned a television. It was quickly reported afterwards in the national media, although it wasn't listed as a run-of-the-mill story. One thing the Soviets didn't speak of was the failure of their lunar lander. They waited until the timing was a bit less embarrassing. Furthermore, the Soviet government congratulated the Americans on their success and spoke of a future joint mission to the moon. This was mostly just friendly overtures, by the way. Both the USSR and the USA were becoming increasingly frustrated by the costs of their space programs. Conveniently, the USSR also changed its mind on its own moon program, and it declared that such landings were dangerous and self-indulgent. In terms of leadership, it's hard to know how any of them felt on a personal level, since you know, secretive communist state. It's also pretty easy to imagine that cosmonaut Alexei Leonov would have been pretty disappointed. Why? Because he had been selected by Soviet leadership to be the first man on the moon had the Soviets got there first. Another person of influence in the USSR who was known to be furious was the former First Secretary Nikita Khrushchev. The Soviet space program was his doing, and for him, not being the first to the moon demonstrated that the Soviet Union was losing its way. So what about the Soviet people and the broader communist bloc? Many simply didn't hear much about it or weren't too fussed about America's scientific endeavours. There were some who were upset with the USSR seeming to lose to the Americans, but barring that, the response to